guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gloria and thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Today I wanted to go through the worst plant purchases of 2020. So these are the plants I regret buying, whether they're too expensive, they're too finicky, or they just don't do well in my care. There's a whole bunch of reasons. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Comment down below which plant you regret buying for the year of 2020. I would love to know, and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy, and subscribe if you haven't done so already so you don't miss out on any of my new videos. And yeah, let's get started. First off, I want to talk about this one plant, which pretty sure it's like the bane of my existence, and it's the Calathea White Fusion. So this plant was originally my boyfriend's, which ended up being in my care because he didn't want it anymore because it was too finicky and it would just get kind of crispy and like brown tips, typical of a Calathea, and that is why I absolutely hate it. There's so many issues with it. It has very beautiful foliage, don't get me wrong, but it's just such a finicky plant and I don't got the patience for that, especially because it's just a Calathea. It needs so much water. You have to be on top of always keeping the soil moist. Nobody's got time for that. And number two, it's such a pest magnet. So this Calathea actually got hit with spider mites when it was in my care, and it took forever for the spider mites to leave. And at that point, I had to like chop the Calathea down to like a stump and regrow it from like literally nothing, which is not fun. It is a little rewarding, but it's definitely not fun and it takes a long time. So there's that. Pest magnet, hate plants that are pest magnets. And last but not least, it needs such high humidity, which, do I want to put it in a greenhouse? Not really. So Calatheas, you just want to admire the foliage out in the open. You want it to kind of just like bring happy vibes in your room when you're decorating with your plants, and it definitely doesn't do that. No, it doesn't at all. Nope, no. So yeah, that's plant number one that I regret getting for the year of 2020. Moving on, plant number two is definitely this diffenbachia. So we have killed so many diffenbachias in my home. The common name for this plant is dumb cane. So first of all, it's toxic to pets, and I have two cats at home. So if I put it remotely close to the floor, the table, the shelf, my cat will get to it and try to actually nibble it and eat it, which is definitely not safe for pets. Although a lot of plants are toxic to pets, I don't know why, but my cats love going for this diffenbachia. And number two, also I hate how the leaves come out very small. I don't know why, but maybe I wasn't giving it enough light, but the new leaves always come out kind of small compared to the old leaves, which are really, really big when I initially bought this plant. And I just couldn't like mimic that size, meaning my home is just not good enough for this diffenbachia. And that is why I probably will not get any future diffenbachias, despite, you know, some of the foliage does look really nice. Like the diffenbachia reflector kind of gives me Aglaonema pictum tricolor vibes. And also the camouflage, I think that's what it's called, or tiki. I like those. They just don't do well in my care despite it being an easy plant. Some of these easy plants that people say, they're not actually easy, so I don't really know. Not my cup of tea for sure. But moving along, plant number three is my Peperomia Hope. So what I was initially really enjoying about this plant is how cute the leaves are. They're like very circular. It gives me like Hoya vibes. It reminds me of like Dischidia, Hoyas, all those types of plants, but the growth pattern is just not cute. I don't know how else to explain it, but it grows very leggy. So I think Peperomia Hope plants look really nice when they're nice and compact when you initially buy it from the nursery, but once you start growing it out, it gets really leggy. There's a lot of space in between the nodes, so the internodal space is just too large for my liking, and it just doesn't trail nicely. It's very stiff looking and it just kind of grows all over the place. That's why I eventually got rid of my Peperomia Hope, despite really enjoying the foliage and kind of the ease of care. It's such an easy plant. I just don't really like the growth pattern, which is why I regret buying my Peperomia Hope, because I had to go through the trouble of trying to sell it and just too much effort. Plant number four is my Stromanthid Triostar, and what I really didn't like about this plant is the movement of this plant. So as you guys know, prayer plant families like the Marantas, Calatheas, Stromanthes, Tenanthes, all of those plants, they move so much. So from the daytime to the nighttime, the leaves will open up and close. So when the leaves are super long, like Stromanthes, they're like this long, it really starts being a nuisance when it hits my plants when it opens, like hits plants on the side when it opens, and then when it closes up, it hits the top of the shelf. So it was very hard to kind of style this plant or keep it in a good lighting situation because it had to kind of just be on its own. And I guess if you have enough space in your home, you would do great with the Stromanthe. So that's why I kind of regret buying the Stromanthid Triostar. Despite the beautiful foliage, there were so many pinks, purples, greens, whites. It's just such a stunning looking plant. I just didn't like how the leaves kept moving. And the fifth plant that I want to talk about that I regret purchasing for the year of 2020 is my Philodendron Moonlight. So I was initially really drawn to this plant because it comes out with beautiful bright lime yellow green foliage, and over time I didn't know that it fades to like a plain old green. So I didn't like how this kind of variegation fades over time. I know a lot of plants have that. They come out really bright and vibrant, and then over time it fades to just like a boring old green, which, I mean, if you're into that, good for you. You should get yourself a Philodendron Moonlight because it's such an easy plant and it's a great philodendron. It doesn't matter if you have it in low humidity or lower light situations, it still will thrive. So it's an easy beginner plant for sure, which probably was why I kept it for as long as I did before I finally got rid of it and sold it off, because it just didn't spark joy anymore. If your plants don't bring you joy, you should definitely get rid of it because you have to kind of spend so much time taking care of it, especially if you have like 100 plants, which at that point, that's how many plants I had before I did a huge purge and got rid of a lot of the plants that I didn't enjoy anymore. Also, what I realized is I don't like upright philodendrons. So the Moonlight, I think Prince of Orange, and the Congos, maybe? I don't know, are those the names? But those types of philodendrons are upright philodendrons, so they kind of just grow really bushy and they don't grow up. Like, they don't grow up a pole, they don't grow nice and tall, they don't start climbing, they're just upright philodendrons. And what I realized is I just don't really like upright philodendrons. So I think I'm very picky with the growth pattern of certain plants, despite kind of how the foliage looks. So that's really like all encompassing of the different factors that I like for a plant and which ones I want to keep in my collection. So I'm pretty picky, and I think you have to be if you want to minimize your collection and not be a plant hoarder, because I was one and I am now not. So I hope you guys found today's video entertaining or you enjoyed. Comment down below which plant you regret buying the most for this past year. I would love to know. And yeah, subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed. Give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.